Welcome back to the Gurudeva online classes. Myself Parmesh, I am your social facilitator of 8th standard. Dear students, now we are in the chapter of history, second lesson, that is geographical features and prehistoric India. In the last class we have discussed about the what are the geographical features. I mean how the earth has been divided into as the land masses. I mean 7 continents and also 5 oceans, and also when it comes to the land masses, the land masses are completely divided into like plateaus, plains, mountains, hills. So these are all called the land masses. And also when you look into the geographical features of India, so there are different kinds of features we can see. So and those geographical features are completely depend on the human's life, okay, human beings life. So human beings directly or indirectly they depend on the geographical features, isn't it? So and also as I told you that, so when it completely in the north, when you move towards the north, there is a Himalaya, isn't it? So Himalaya is protecting us from the cold winds and as well as from the enemies. Okay, and when it comes to the south, India is completely surrounded. Southern part is completely surrounded by the 3 sides of water and 1 side of land. That is why we call it as peninsula. Isn't it? So peninsular country. India is called as a peninsular country because of 3 sides of water and 1 side of land. As you know that when you move in the west there is a Arabian Sea, in the east there is a Bay of Bengal, and south there is a Indian Ocean. So and also we have discussed about in the last class there is about Narmada River. So Narmada rivers which the river which divides the earth, divides the India as a 2 parts, and northern India and southern India. In the North India, what are the features we can see? In the North India, there are the Central Islands and Malwa Plateau, isn't it? And also there is a Indo-Gangetic plain, the fertile land. So which the Indo-Gangetic plain or the fertile land creates by the Ganga and Brahmaputra river, isn't it? These are the features we have learnt it in the last class. And also when it comes to the South India, it is called, there is a Deccan Plateau, and also especially in the South India there is the very important thing is the coastal line. These coastal lines are attracted by the other countries people, and they started trading with us, our Roman people, many civilization people, Egypt people, and even as we learned Portuguese, okay, British. These are the people, they were attracted by the coastal areas. They have found out the route way to they have reached the India by this using of route and they have started the trading in the coastal areas. Okay, and another important thing is, so northern rivers are called the perennial rivers, southern rivers are called the seasonal rivers. Okay, so these are the basic Indian features we have learnt in the last class. And also very most important thing is there are the richest kingdoms ruled overall the India. When you look into the north, there is a Mauryas, Guptas, Delhi Sultans. These are the very important things they have ruled. And when it observes the southern India, especially in the coastal areas, these coastal areas, they are given chance to rise. They are the reasons to rise the very important things like Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas. So these are the important kingdoms we can see, and they have given a chance to birth or given a chance to rise in the coastal areas. Okay, so this is all we have learned in the last class. So today's class we are going to learn by observing all these features, Indian features. So there are different kinds of people, they have adjusted their life for the different kinds of environment, isn't it? So that is why there are diversity in the unity in diversity. The concept India with the title called as unity in the diversity. Unity in diversity. I mean there is a number of different kind of people are living in the India, and because of the different climate they have adjusted, and their culture is different, their language is different, okay, and the system is complete, the tradition is different. Although we are together, we living in a living, isn't it? So that is why India is the name of unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. And also next one is Prehistoric period. What is prehistoric period? The prehistoric period is called as art writings. Art writings is called the prehistoric period. So in the earlier, if you look into that, so there is no records at all of linguistic development or any using of script. There are no records. I mean, there are no proofs at all. So that is why. So art writing, that's writing on the stone, writing on the wall, or writing on the trees. So this art writing we call it as a prehistoric period. So because of there are no scripts, there is no proof at all, there are no linguistic development, or there are no using of script. So that is why this era we call it as a art writing era, we call it as a prehistoric period. So after this prehistoric period we will come to, because as you told sir, you might have get one more question in your mind. So the question is, sir, as you told that there are no linguistic development, there is no using of script, there are no records, right? So how do you say that? So how do we get to know about the people, about prehistoric and their lifestyle? Okay, how do we get to know about the people and their life in a prehistoric case? Yes, there are proofs. Yes, by that proofs are got by the archaeologists. Archaeologists, who are the archaeologists? The archaeologists are scholars who study this period. So about prehistoric, the scholars who studied those people, we call it as an archaeologist. So according to the archaeologists, they predict, according to their proofs, they told that in the prehistoric, the people are nomads. What does it mean of nomads? Nomads is nothing but people who keep moving from place to place in a searching of food. Okay, people who keep moving from one place to another place in the searching of food, those people we call it as a nomads. So according to the archaeologists, the prehistoric people are called nomads, and they do not have any, they used to hunting, they individualist, I mean they practiced hunting and gathering food. How do they get the food? They collect, or they do the hunt, or they practice hunting and they gather in the food. And also the archaeologists told that to hunt they made the many kinds of tools. They discovered the tools. Archaeologists, they discovered the tools. Those tools are made by the stone, wood and bones. So by the stone and wood bones, the people who lived in the prehistoric, those people are made the tools, and those tools are still available. Okay, still available. I mean, they survived because of those available of sources. Today we come to know that about prehistoric days. Okay, without this proof, without this discovering of this proof, this kind of tools, we wouldn't come to know about the prehistoric days. Because of these sources, stone, wood, bones, which they made in the prehistoric age. Because of we are getting that there is a prehistoric age. Okay, and also what they by these tools, what they did, the prehistoric people used the tools to peel the skin and separate the flesh and bones of the animals. Okay, and also the tools are used to scrap bark of the trees. Scrap bark of the trees in the sense ಮರದ ತೊಗಟೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಡಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ. To scrap bark of the trees, and also to cut the roots, to cut the fruits. Because of these things, because of these works, the tools are used. Okay, and also create the handles. The handles are used to hunt. It is a kind of weapons. The handles are the kinds of weapons. Those weapons are used for hunt. Okay, so what type of handles they have created? So arrows and also spears. Spears is a long kind of stick. Okay, long stick with a sharp edge. Okay, so arrows and spears are the handles they are created by the wood and bones. Okay, and also stones. By the stones, the stones as access to chop down the trees and cut them up into the logs. By the stones also they are made as an axes. Okay, and those axes are used to chop down the trees and also cut them up into the logs. And also last one is the wood is used to build the huts. The wood also used for the huts. So by observing all this the archaeologists have given the proofs as they have made the tools. By using the tools they have started hunting and gathering the food, and also they have created the handles, and also they have used the tools for peel the skin and as well as separate the flesh and bones of the animals, and also they have used the wood as making of huts. So these are the proofs are provided by the archaeologists. Who are the archaeologists? The archaeologists are the scholars who study in the prehistoric days. The next question is, where did the prehistoric man live? As you all know that prehistoric man is called nomads. The nomads in the sense is moving from place to place in the searching of food, and also as you all know that he is hunting and gathering the food. Isn't it? These are the information is available. And also the prehistoric man is lived in the Bhimbetka, Hunsigi and Kurnool. So Bhimbetka, Hunsigi and Kurnool are the places in India, and also the Bhimbetka and Hunsigi and Kurnool, these are the places there are proofs are available, and those proofs are available. There are many sites have been discovered. These people are the prehistoric men are lived, and also these are the sites have been discovered in the place called near the or along with the banks of a river and also lakes. So banks of a river, most of the prehistoric men they have settled their life in the river, near the river, because water is also very important source for the preparing food, for wash, for the users, isn't it? So that is why they are most of these people sites, I mean they settled their life in the bank of rivers and lakes. And also the first industrial sites also we come to know that. What is meaning by industrial sites? What they did in the industrial sites. Why we call the place called industrial sites? Because the place we call it industrial sites, they by using the tools were the, as you all know that stone was the very essential tool. Stone was very essential tool for the prehistoric men. By using that stone, they make different kinds of tools, isn't it? So where people use stones to create the various tools. By using the stone, the people they create the various tools. That place we call it the industrial sites. The prehistoric man also there are many, the archaeologists are found there are many industrial sites. In the industrial sites, by using the stone, okay, they create the different kinds of tools. Okay, that place we call it as a industrial sites. Tools were the very essential for the prehistoric man. Okay, so later one more question we can raise, that is, how do we get to know about the such industrial sites? As I told you that what does it mean of industrial sites? The industrial sites, an area where the man or where the prehistoric man creates the different kinds of tools by using the stone. That place we call it as an industrial sites. Okay, and also as I told, stone tools around the rocky areas, they will choose the places where the rocky areas are there. In that places, stone tools are around the rocky areas, and also some of the people, okay, they while making of tools, while selecting the rocks to make the tools, some of the stones are rejected, and also some of the stones are heaps of broken. That is unused stones to make any kinds of tools. And also during the creation of the tools, obtained, I mean broken. So that kind of places, the people are lived a long time. Okay, it is a rocky area. Okay, and also while making the tools, some of the stones are rejected, some of the tools during the creation they have broken. Okay, so that kind of areas, it is very possible that there are more possibility of living long time for the prehistoric people. That is why those places we call it as a residential sites. Residential sites in the sense the way the prehistoric man lived in the long time. Those kind of sites we call it as a residential sites. Okay, industrial sites in the sense area where the prehistoric man creates the different kinds of tools by using stone. Those sites are called the industrial sites, and residential sites in the sense an area where prehistoric man lived a long time. In those sites area we call it as a residential sites. You understood your story. This is all about today's class. We can meet in the next class. Until thank you, Ananda.